Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome to the channel. UFC 290, Alexander Volkanovski versus Yair Rodriguez just ended, and this is going to be my post-fight recap for the main event. I'll also be doing a full card post-fight. I will link that in the description as soon as it's done. But what a performance by Alexander Volkanovski. He defends the featherweight title and wins via third-round TKO over Yair Rodriguez. And I want to say that this fight was a domination because it really did feel like a domination. But when you really start to dissect it, it was a little bit more competitive, I think, than a total domination by Volkanovski. But overall, an absolute world-class performance by Alexander Volkanovski. And to not only win, and not only win every single round, but to get the finish in the third round. Finishing a guy like Yair Rodriguez is not easily done. The first round, both guys were kind of tentative early. Yair Rodriguez throwing a couple subtle oblique kicks. Then eventually Alexander Volkanovski catches a kick, takes him down, immediately starts to corral him towards the cage. Now he just controls him there for a little bit, softening him up with a few strikes. Yair works back to his feet. He drags him back down. Yair works back to his feet. He drags him back to the ground, kind of in the center of the cage. I think it was the second or third time that Yair kind of got to a knee or got up, and then he dragged him back down. And then the round ended basically with Volkanovski beating him up, landing elbows, and then Yair kind of accepted the position at this point and started throwing elbows from his back. The round ended. Clear round for Alexander Volkanovski, a dominant round for Alexander Volkanovski. Second round. The second round actually had a moment that the commentary team didn't talk about, and I feel like a lot of people missed, but Volkanovski ate a massive right hand in this round. Now, it started off, they were striking. Yair was a little bit nervous. You could see he was a little bit tentative because he didn't want to get taken back down again. And Alexander Volkanovski clips him with a big left hand, and it backs Yair up. Yair backs up to the cage. Volkanovski starts to get super aggressive, just pressing on Yair Rodriguez, just running right towards him, and eats a massive counter right hand. I don't know if he was hurt. It was impossible to tell. I don't think he was, but he ate a huge counter right hand from Yair Rodriguez, and then Volkanovski shot in on a double leg, took him down. Yair had some scrambles, had some moments, but inevitably it ended with Volkanovski cementing control. And then at the end of the round, last minute or minute and a half of the round, Volkanovski landing nasty ground and pound elbows, nasty shots. Yair again in the second round kind of accepting the position, and he's just kind of throwing elbows at this point. He cut open Volkanovski, but at the end of the day, he was eating nasty shots too. Then you had the third round where we had the finish, and this round was actually very surprising because Yair was winning this round up until the finish. Yair was landing good combinations. Volkanovski, I talked about it before this fight. I thought that Volkanovski would grapple early, and then I thought later in the fight he would kind of prove a point by trying to stand with Yair Rodriguez because Yair would have been kind of neutralized. He wouldn't have the same speed and power in the third, fourth, and fifth round. And that's kind of what happened in this round for Volkanovski. He just kind of, you could just tell he made a concerted effort to strike with Yair in this round. And Yair started to come on strong. Yair started to land some kicks. He landed a head kick and then a right hand. He landed a couple good leg kicks. He landed a really good body kick. And Volkanovski wasn't landing a whole lot in this third round. Then there's the head clash. And I don't think the head clash is all that controversial. Volk landed it, or didn't land it. They inadvertently head clash. Volk got the better of the situation. They immediately stopped the fight. They give Yair time to recover. He wasn't like rocked or anything, but he did take a nasty hit from Volk's head right on his chin. They gave him plenty of time to recover. I think he took like a minute and a half or so. They start the fight back up. For a minute or so, Yair's back on the winning track. It wasn't like he was pulling away from him, but he's landing some kicks. I think he landed a really good kick to the body. And I felt like Yair started to build some confidence. And Volkanovski wasn't really shooting in on takedowns. I think in the third round, he shot in on, besides the finishing sequence, before the finishing sequence, he shot in on like one half-hearted takedown that I wouldn't even count because it was just kind of mixing it up just to kind of give Yair something to think about. He didn't really truly go for it. And I think Yair started to get comfortable on the feet. Yair starts throwing some punches. Boom, gets caught with a massive right hand from Volkanovski. Hurts him badly. Backs up against the fence. Volkanovski starts swarming him up against the fence, landing shots to the guard, an uppercut, a shot to the body, just ripped a right hook to the body. Then he decides, you know what? Yair's got his hands so high up, let me just double leg him and take him down. He just picked him up, dumped him down, immediately goes to like a 3/4 or full mount and just starts smashing Yair Rodriguez. Yair's just turtled up. There's nothing he can do. He has no offense. He's hurt badly. He's getting battered by Volkanovski. And Volkanovski, at first, he was kind of in the mount, but then he says, I'm getting no resistance here. Let me stand up. He stands up and just starts throwing with both of his hands, just smashing Yair. The referee gives Yair every possible chance to survive. Yair does some squirming, but to no effect. Volkanovski just doesn't stop with the onslaught, and eventually the referee steps in. Third round TKO for Alexander Volkanovski. And what a win this was. I know a lot of people going into this fight thought Yair Rodriguez had no chance. And I know Volkanovski won every single round, but I feel like talking like that it doesn't discredit the win from Volk, but I feel like it devalues it slightly. Yair was very dangerous in this fight. And it was a very difficult stylistic matchup for Volkanovski going in. It was a matchup that he hasn't really seen or hasn't seen for a while. And Volkanovski just went through him, just sliced through him, just destroyed him. And I know, again, Yair had a couple moments and he was winning that third round, even though it was kind of close. But I just feel like Volk looks unbeatable at this point, at least at 145 pounds. He is unbelievably good in all facets. The striking is good. The grappling is good. The stamina is good. The fight IQ is good. He realized, and I knew this going in, he realized Yair Rodriguez is the most dangerous in the first round, in the early rounds. Proceeded to grapple immediately. And even took Yair to the fence to kind of give him that limited space to really move and look to throw up submissions. And just started to beat him up. And every time Yair would start to scramble, Volk was flowing well on top. And I think it was in the second round, Volk almost went for an arm triangle. He kind of had it set up. Yair recognized it, was able to escape it. But Volk is so good. Volk is so good. And he can take a shot. He took a hard head kick, and he also took a right hand. I think it was a right hand right after the head kick in that third round. Just ate it. I thought it would have rocked him. You know, I didn't think it would rock Volk because I know what a granite chin he has. But the way it landed, you would think it would rock that fighter. He just ate it. He just absolutely ate it. Volk, where's the weakness to Volk? Where's the weakness? Because unless he goes up to 55 and fights a guy in Islam Makhachev who's bigger than him and has that elite level grappling, and even that fight was close. Even that fight was competitive. So Volk looks unbeatable at this point in time, especially at 145 pounds. This was a great performance over a very dangerous Yair Rodriguez. I feel like underselling Yair Rodriguez as a threat kind of devalues this win a little bit. And I think Volkanovski, how do you pick apart this performance? Of course he ate some shots. It's a fight. He ate a couple shots, but really, outside of the cut from the elbows, from the bottom, he wouldn't have really worn all that much damage to this fight. So he's not taking a lot of damage. He's fighting with a safe game plan. He has an unbelievably granite chin. He has unbelievable cardio. I can't pick apart Volkanovski at all. It's hard to imagine anybody at 145 defeating Alexander Volkanovski. I mean, it looks like the next opponent's probably going to be Ilia Topuria. I know people are thinking maybe they do Islam Makhachev versus Alexander Volkanovski next. Islam Makhachev needs an opponent for later this year at UFC 294, I believe it is in October in Abu Dhabi. Volkanovski says he kind of needs a surgery on his arm. You couldn't tell tonight. You couldn't tell he was dealing with any lingering injury. But I think most likely they find another opponent for Islam Makhachev. Maybe the winner of Justin Gaethje versus Dustin Poirier if they come out of that fight unscathed, which is kind of unlikely. Or maybe they'll find someone else. I don't know. At this point, who else would it be? Arman Tsarukyan, maybe? That's really the only other opponent they could really give him at this point in time outside of the BMF title fight, because Charles Oliveira said, I'm not going to be ready for October. But Volk being Volk, he may say, you know what? I'll forego the surgery. I'll hold off on the surgery. And I'll make that quick turnaround. And I'll fight in 3 months. In home field advantage for Islam Makhachev. And I'll fight him in Abu Dhabi. And I'll fight him in 3 months on a quick turnaround. Because outside of the cuts, which will heal up perfectly fine, Volk didn't take a whole lot of damage tonight. So I think Volk looked so impressive tonight. Yair, Yair was Yair tonight. But Volk was just that much better. There is levels to this game. Yair had some moments. He just wasn't able to capitalize. I mean, when you hit Volkanovski with a clean shot and he just eats it with no reaction, what else are you supposed to do? Especially when he's taking you down, especially when he's landing hard punches on you. I mean, I know Volk isn't a power puncher by any means, but it's not like he has pillow punches like someone like Colby Covington, or, you can name a million guys who really don't have all that much power in their hand. Volkanovski is hurting guys on the feet, and he hurt Yair, and he finished Yair. Now, do I think Yair is now exposed as a fighter? No, I don't. I think Yair's a very good fighter, but I don't know where he goes from here. I don't know where a lot of the division goes from here. Where does Max Holloway go from here? A lot of the featherweight division has to pray that Volkanovski goes up to 155 and just stays there. That's all they can do because Volkanovski looks unbeatable. Again, I think he's going to fight Ilia Topuria. Volk says he wants to fight by the end of the year. He even mentioned Ilia Topuria. He even squared off with Ilia Topuria outside the cage. I don't think Ilia Topuria gets it done. It's an interesting matchup because Topuria has the jiu-jitsu. Topuria also has great hands. But Volk's too versatile. I don't think Topuria can get it done against Volk. He's too one-dimensional in terms of just using his boxing primarily in fights. And I don't think Topuria, even though he has great jiu-jitsu and submission ability, I don't see him taking Volkanovski down. I don't see him, finding a submission on Volkanovski. I don't see that happening. So right now, I look at the featherweight division, and I don't want to say I'm uninterested, but where's the challenge for Volkanovski? I mean, where is the challenge? I don't know. Ilia Topuria is the only guy there right now. He is the number one contender, just 50-42 Josh Emmett in their last fight, who Yair just beat to win an interim featherweight title. But I just don't see a challenging matchup in Ilia Topuria. Do I want to see that matchup? Yes. But I would definitely pick Alexander Volkanovski. Early prediction for that fight. Volkanovski may be the greatest fighter of all time. He may be working his way to surpassing, guys like Anderson Silva, to guys like John Jones, to guys like GSP. Bare minimum, at least being equal with them in terms of the GOAT conversation. I think after tonight, he's got to be right up there in the GOAT conversation. I already think, depending on how you look at Jose Aldo's WEC career, if you include it, don't include it, I think he's either surpassed Jose Aldo or he's right on par with Jose Aldo. Maybe another win surpasses Jose Aldo. Volkanovski's unbelievable. His skill set's unbelievable. His resume speaks for itself. He's super active, and he looks unstoppable. What I love about a dominant champion is I love seeing him go out there and take on different challenges. And I know we've seen him fight Max Holloway, but if Volkanovski goes on to, let's say he just beat Yair, let's say he goes on to beat Ilia Topuria, let's say in the meantime either Arnold Allen or maybe Movsar Evloev work their way to a title shot, and Volkanovski beats one of those guys, and then let's say he goes up to 55, which I think Volkanovski can be successful at 155. I mean, that fight with Islam Makhachev, I think he fared better against Islam Makhachev than somebody like Dustin Poirier or Justin Gaethje would. Now, obviously, styles make fights, but I think we're going to see a scenario where Emmett fights maybe 1, 2, 3 more times at featherweight, and then maybe late 2024, early 2025. That's crazy that we're even talking about those years. I think we could see a situation where he goes up to challenge for the lightweight belt again. Maybe he wins the belt. Maybe he gets a title defense. Because if Volkanovski wins the lightweight belt, he's not going to be like a guy like Conor McGregor who's going to be like, all right, I'm done here, boys. I'm out of here. I'm not defending the belt. I'm going to go sit on the sideline. Volkanovski would defend it at least once or twice. And then you're talking about he's going to be 36 years old, going on 37. Maybe then Volkanovski retires. But if he's able to pull off something like that, honestly, it's hard to think right off the top of my head. But if Volk defends the featherweight belt 1 or 2 more times, goes up and gets the lightweight belt, wins the lightweight belt, and then defends 1 or 2 times, I think it's hard to deny Volkanovski as top 3 all-time GOAT, top 4 all-time GOAT. Overall, we're not talking about just a certain division. We're talking overall. That's how good he is. And I think we have to appreciate, I think about it. I've been a fan for a long time. I've been watching since 2010. You don't realize it when you're in the moment. You don't realize you're witnessing an era that is special. You watch Anderson Silva and you know how good he is. These are special moments. But then one day it's just gone. Everybody has their day. Every dominant champion usually ends up falling at some point in time. Right now we are in a special era. We are watching one of the best fighters on the planet in their prime, in Alexander Volkanovski, going out there and systematically dismantling the top contenders in his weight class. So we have to appreciate Alexander Volkanovski because at some point in time, he's going to lose, or at some point in time, he's going to get shinned, or at some point in time, he's going to start to regress and fall off a cliff. But right now, I think he's in the prime of his career. He's still getting better. And then you match that with his durability, which is an intangible. You match that with his fight IQ, which is kind of an intangible. It's just a recipe for disaster for every single featherweight contender. I don't see anyone in the featherweight weight class right now that I think could be competitive with Alexander Volkanovski. And he went out there and showed it tonight against Yair Rodriguez. Yair Rodriguez is a super dynamic kicker. Couldn't really get off all that much. He landed some shots, but I don't know what the statistics are. I didn't go out there and count out Yair Rodriguez's strikes. But it was very limited. He landed some good shots in that third round. Outside of that third round, in the first and second, outside of that one moment where he landed that big right hand, Volkanovski was just beating him up. Volkanovski was out grappling him. Volkanovski was even landing some leg kicks. And Volkanovski, because of the threat of the kicks of Yair Rodriguez, I forgot to mention, he was switching stances all fight just to throw Yair off. He was switching stances. He was closing the distance super fast to land his shots. And this is another masterclass performance from Volkanovski. Volkanovski looked incredible at UFC 276 against Max Holloway. I would put this performance on par with that performance at UFC 276 where he beat the brakes off of Max Holloway. I would put this performance on that level. That's how good it was against a legit threat in Yair Rodriguez, who's very, very dangerous. Alexander Volkanovski, we are witnessing a special era. We are witnessing a special title reign in the featherweight division, and we just got to take a moment to appreciate it. I look forward to seeing where he goes from here. I look forward to seeing a Topuria matchup. I look forward to seeing some lightweight matchups in the future of Alexander Volkanovski. But who knows what's up next? I honestly believe, if I had to guess, I think November, December, Volkanovski takes on Ilia Topuria. But I do believe there's a small chance Volkanovski, they ask him, hey, we need somebody to fight Islam. We needed somebody to fight Islam in October in Abu Dhabi. And I have a hard time believing that Alexander Volkanovski would turn that down. So who knows? He might be double champ by the end of the year, because I think a lot of people would pick him in an Islam Makhachev rematch. And I think he would have a very good chance to win an Islam Makhachev rematch. I didn't underrate him going into the first fight. So it's going to be an interesting career, rest of the career for Alexander Volkanovski to watch it play out. But a super amazing performance against Yair Rodriguez tonight to defend his featherweight title. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments. Don't forget to like the video. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. My full card breakdown will be coming out soon. As soon as it's done, it'll be linked in the description as well as the end cards. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.